What's up, guys? So welcome to Night Drive Live, and thank you for clicking on the video. So essentially, I've been thinking about this for quite some time. I wanted to do something that gives me a little bit more content, so I'm coming to you from Las Vegas. We are going to have this show Monday through Friday, and the idea was that since I have been in the industry for quite some time, and what I had decided to do was give a little bit of market insight. I follow news daily, and I thought to myself, I think that the internet needs a little more depth, and I love putting my opinion out there. So my name is Damon Knight. I have built cars for some time. I've been in the industry, like I said, for about almost 20 years. And so the idea here is that we are going to pack some news in every single day. I'm going to start off with the American Big Three today, and we are going to get into the real conversation, which is Elon Musk versus Mary Barra. And so that is that's going to be the topic for the week, basically, as comments come in and people view this or the recorded version after it is kind of cached, after it's gone from being live to being stored. If you leave a comment, I will bring it up the following day. So we're going to kind of have an ongoing conversation. So all things said, then we're going to get started. Hey, little Unc, what's up? Well, what's happening, he says. Lots of things are happening. So we're going to get started here, guys, with a little bit of Ford news. Who doesn't like Ford news, am I right? So a big leak happened today, and here it is. So we didn't know much about the 2021 Ford Bronco, and apparently the Raptor connection just leaked it. So I doubt this was something that Ford had planned. I don't think it's probably something they wanted. I know the interesting part is the last Ford GT that you're probably aware of still selling at this moment. This car was a total secret. They somehow kept it totally underground. When it hit Detroit Auto Show, nobody even knew it was happening. So this is a big miss for Ford, a big loss if this was indeed a security breach. But the Raptor connection has watermarked the photos. They got it. So that's the real deal. This is going to compete with the Jeep. This is obviously the off-road iteration. And so it looks pretty stout, to be honest with you. If those are 31s, I mean, it could be 33s factory. Like the lighting, I like the approach to the front end there. So pretty cool retro feel. Going to compete with the Jeep. We'll see what happens. But literally up until yesterday, we didn't know much more than this right here. And so this was like a heavily camoed. We could barely see. We knew that there would be a removable top or something along those lines, but really didn't know much more about the vehicle than that. Don't worry about that. We'll talk about that in a second. But this was the off-road iteration, and even with the camo, the flares obviously were not shaped like the ones on this leaked image. So that's why you can never trust a camo, never trust Ford, especially on camo, because they are quite crafty. But that's the case. So that's your 2021 Ford. I think a lot of people are going to be excited about it. Adventure vehicles, Ford is working with Rivian, who are kind of getting into overland and things like that. So this is a big deal for Ford for sure. So you may have seen that image pop up that I had stored, and this is a really cool project. Some people were like, I ain't waiting for no 2021 Bronco. I want my Bronco now. And so this is a shop, obviously great advertising on the wall. I'm always in support of people who think when they have a shop, I'm going to take a good picture and I'm going to throw some vinyl on the wall. That's a great idea, and that's something I used to tell people all the time. But modern lighting on this vehicle, as you can see, and I love how the headlight works with this channel down the side. And this was a factory design feature in the 70s, but look how the lines of the lighting of this newer Ford lighting just works with that. And I really like that. So this is some great metal work done here. So if any of you body guys out there, leave me a comment or anything like that. Oh, yeah, you like it. Good times for all. How are you? But yeah, no, great body work here. Not much putty. They're showing you this is all metal, really done cleanly. And so here I'm looking for some images. Check out, they do the interior as well. And so got the modern interior. I'm curious. I got a little bit of wiring going. Probably not going to do the full systems integration to where they have the CAN bus system and all the body control module and everything, but probably going to get some things functional. But cool project. I'm going to keep up with that. So I'm always going to have projects on the channel. So guys, check out my information in the description and anything. If you know a project, you have a cool project you want shared on the show, I'm definitely for it. I'm a builder. I'm a guy who loves custom stuff. So definitely throw that my way. And so let's get into, since we're talking about Ford Camo, I'm going to show you something. And you'll be like, man, this is an example of Ford saying, we're about to show you what we're going to sell. So big story. Ford shows dealers its sub $20,000 small pickup coming next year. So I was pretty, oh man, what do we have here? Well, that's what they showed. I'm like, is this like a SWAT vehicle for ICE, or is this like a hearse to carry some like dead carcasses to the burial plot? I don't know, but supposedly underneath this is a unibody pickup truck, and I don't know. They're going to kind of do the Honda Ridgeline thing, unibody. So it's not body on frame, under 20 grand, meaning $19,995.99. It's what Ford thinks needs to be done. They think there's a market for it. Let me know in the comments, or what do you think about that? I don't know. Jeep sucks. Good times. Yeah. I mean, people, they're so popular out here. If you look at my Jeep video that I did at SEMA, I mean, it was like 50% of SEMA was Jeeps. It's unbelievable. Like, but yeah, center console looks like Ford F-150. I agree with you. Yeah, it was a cool integration for sure. And so cool pickup. But yeah, this thing here, unibody, I don't know. Not sure about it. I don't think America reacts well to like the unibody softy pickups. I know in Europe, VW is talking about doing a small pickup because pedestrian crash standards, they want the hood like a pillow. So if you're texting and, you're walking into the roundabout, you're not looking around over there in the UK, they want the car to hit you, pillow you, and you slide over and you go off to the side, you brush yourself off, they curse at each other a little bit, and on they go, So I don't know that America likes big trucks, big grills, big muscular. So this is an interesting move by Ford, but we'll see what happens there. So interestingly, like I said, I'm going to stick to a little bit of the big three. Man, we got drama with GM and FCA. Let me tell you, criminal drama, criminal. So I think unibody rides smoother. Definitely, that was the big appeal with the Ridgeline. Is that they said that it was like more car-like, but I mean, you can incorporate some cool features in that unibody, but we'll see what happens. But as you can see on the screen, GM is suing the pants off of FCA because they were bribing the auto workers union. And I mean, Detroit, the Rust Belt, unions, crooked, who'd have thought? So apparently this might be a RICO deal to where since the downturn, since the bankruptcy, Chrysler apparently was paying off UAW leaders. And so this was a federal investigation that lasted years. They've already indicted 13 union guys and FCA officials. This is a big deal. GM says they've been harmed in the billions. So it could be a $12.5 billion type of judgment. This is an interesting move. We'll see what happens. I feel like nothing ever really comes of this kind of stuff, and it just gets buried. But obviously FCA Chrysler is going to be doing a merger with PSA, which is like Peugeot, Citroen. So lots going on with FCA. They've been really kind of struggling. So throw me a comment if you work for FCA, if any union guys in here, because this is a pretty interesting story. We'll see kind of how that develops over time. So I was kind of on the subject of looking at Fiat Chrysler and what their moves, because if you don't know, the Hummer's coming back. This is like an EV push that GM's doing. The Hummer truck and the Hummer SUV is going to be under the GMC brand. So I was curious on what FCA is going to do with electric vehicles. So they're partnering with a Taiwan-based company. They're struggling to find, but it's an iPhone maker, so not hugely relevant. I am going to talk about EV stuff on this channel daily. But they're looking at trying to go Ram, Jeep, electric, and obviously I think that's what Bronco's going to do. This vehicle here is called the Byton. And I saw this vehicle at CES. This is definitely a startup. Huge screens in it. So Tesla's, they got EVs coming from all directions. We're going to see what happens, but that's the deal with that. So something I wanted to touch on that I thought was interesting, and I'm not sure if sports car guys, if you guys are familiar. So you're like, what is this, right? I think drift guys will see this and be like, this is like a Libwalk kit, Sylvia. Who knows what that is, but what you're looking at, I'm lost control. What you're looking at here is the first C8. So the first C8 here, this is a Holden front end. They took like a C7 center section and tampons and wheel. What's funny? Man, I don't know if I should even talk about it, but I had a friend, older friend, named Dennis, and he was a lover of Honda Ridgelines, of Honda. And when they first announced the first gen Ridgeline, I was like, Dennis, you got to be excited about this. I mean, this is like a pickup truck, and he was like optimistic. He thought it was good. Well, when the Ridgeline came out, it did come out as that first gen was bigger, unibody though, and it had like that 4-foot bed. And he said it was, he's an older guy. He said it was for women to go to the Sam's Club and get a pallet of tampons. So I didn't say it, you know what I'm saying? But that's what he said. So, but yeah, this car is called Blackjack, and so essentially what this was this car was built in 8 months. This was a Holden Ute, kind of mostly a space frame structure, but this was the first C8 Corvette, and C7 wheels, C7 brakes, and they very crude bodywork you can see, but this was the actual first prototype. And think of this. This car, this thing here was driving, this is a mid-engine Corvette, driving in 2014. They were testing this. So that's the first year for C7. And he said, don't say it. I already said it. The comments are lagging. Yeah, so this was their first go at testing this car in 2014. So think, if the 2020 C8 is out now, what are they driving around right now? So they were driving this when the first year C7 came out. Pretty interesting. It was just a validation test car, but yeah, I mean they had most of the drivetrain components obviously, but I did find some CADs. They were actually using a Porsche 918 Spyder DCT in this. It leaked. So pretty interesting for Corvette and sports car guys. I love prototypes and I love seeing that developmental phase. It's just something I've always been interested in with the major automakers, and so throw a comment or something if that's something you're into, because I'm about it. But okay, so we're gonna get to the Royal Rumble, the whole deal of this video. But the whole point of the video here is we're going to talk about Mary Barra. So Mary Barra, as you may or may not know, is the CEO of GM. She is the first woman to lead a major automaker. So she has made the Forbes list of the most powerful people alive. And some people like her, some people hate her. WikiLeaks actually showed that Hillary Clinton was going to propose VP to her in 2016, and I'm sure Mary Barra would not have taken it because she was Mary Barra has been at GM since she was 18 years old. Very interesting backstory. Mary Barra was an intern. She actually went to a GM university. She has worked at GM at every level. She's an electrical engineer. She worked her way up. So very interesting. From day one, this is all this woman knows is GM, and she's got this idea. Oh, thanks, Ann Royd, on the drone stuff. I'm doing a lot more drone stuff, man. I'll be honest with you. I'm working on it for the core videos. This is just going to be a Monday through Friday type of video that I do just for good content to discuss and things. But I'm still going to do the core videos, and the drone stuff is definitely a lot more of that coming. I've been working on that real hard, so thank you for that comment. But, yeah, so, Mary, she's been in GM for quite some time, and $20 billion they're going to spend. And this is big for GM because, GM, since the downturn, since the restructuring, they have come into profit, and they have worked very hard to get back. And they've done some actually good work, streamlining, eliminating Hummer. They eliminated Pontiac. They just announced they're eliminating Holden in Australia and New Zealand. So they are definitely eliminating a lot of the fat. They're focusing on what they're making money with, but a $20 billion is a big gamble. But I think they're seeing Ford, they're seeing other companies, and I think everybody kind of sat back and watched Tesla beta test all this, and they thought, what, we're going to see where this EV market goes. And I mean, at this point, Tesla's been at it 10 years. They have like 1 or 2% market share. They've sold 365,000 vehicles last year. GM sold 2 million. But you look at the stock price, Tesla's $800+, GM is trading at 39. Investors are investing in Tesla like it's a tech company. And quite frankly, I will tell you, GM has a tremendous amount of technology internally. They're hugely invested, and as is Ford. They've invested in Rivian. And so FCA obviously is doing what they can do. But, Honda, a great brand, great Japanese brand, has come to GM. Interesting comment. Good times. Yeah, but Honda has come to GM because they said, hey, we need help with this. So this is going to reshape. It could reshape a lot of things, because not only are EVs kind of reshaping the market, who's going to take the lead and whatnot, but batteries in themselves kind of reshape a lot of things because of where the minerals and things for batteries come from versus where oil comes from. So this could be a big disruptor, and this is why I think it's so important to talk about gas and cars, EVs, hybrids, and things like that. So it's something I'm very interested in. I'm sure you are as well in some ways, but GM's making a big move. Hummer's coming back. They're talking about 11,000 foot-pounds of torque. I think it could be some type of transmission gearing that they're putting into it, where EVs are mostly kind of like the single-speed transmission. Probably going to put a low puller gear or something in it. But, yeah, so, as I wrap this up, this pre-recorded version, I'm going to stay live for you people watching. But basically for this, first iteration of this conversation, I look at Tesla, 365,000 vehicles, struggling to hit their marks on production and delivery. GM here, they reported $6.9 billion in profits last year. They incurred a 40-day strike across the board. They lost 170,000 sales, still cleared $6.9 billion. Tesla has not had a profitable year yet, and they're still working towards hitting all their marks. But Elon is a very reinvestment savvy. He wants to grow a monster of a brand, and I think that his investors, for the most part, are behind him. So it's going to be interesting, but this is what we're going to talk about throughout the week. I'm going to kind of take your comments and see what people think. I know Tesla's a touchy subject, boy. People that look at Teslas, if you don't like Tesla, boy, they'll come at you. So if you're watching and you're a huge fan of Tesla, throw me a comment. Let me know what you think about the future of Tesla. Let me know what you think about the brand overall. I will tell you, I have highs and lows. I like the brand. I love the technology. I love the fun that Elon Musk, he's like, the Spaceballs integration of ludicrous mode and stuff like that. I mean, I love his imagination, but, the rudder steers quickly with Tesla, more quickly than GM or larger brands. So, it is interesting, but here everybody comes. Porsche Taycan, BMW i8, Audi e-tron. GM's just going to come out with a slew of electronic EVs, plug-ins, and that all on the eve of, in 2019, plug-in EVs actually dropped 9% in terms of purchase, of sales. So hybrids have gone up 16%, but EVs came down 9%. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be a big deal. Do you think GM should have invested this much money? Is this going to threaten GM? Is Mary Barra a crazy woman, or is she the carbon-free footprint leader of GM for the future? Is she going to lead GM to greatness? And what do you think about the C8 Corvette, the Bronco? Tell me about that. I've got mixed feelings, and we're going to talk about this stuff more as this show grows. I thank anybody who has been watching thus far in the live show. Thank you very much for that. Tesla is an Apple product, but for EV cars, I agree. I think very much Elon is the Steve Jobs, and when they took Steve Jobs out of Apple, Apple was tanking. They had to bring him back. So I think that Elon has a lot of leverage with the board. Good times. So, yeah, I think Elon has a lot of leverage with the board, but we will have to see what happens as time goes forward, and just see where these brands go, because I think the Tesla's got a lot of challenges. He made a lot of promises with the Semi, with the sports car, with the Cybertruck, with a lot of things, and they're just struggling to get the battery technology, the manufacturing plants working a lot in China with the Model 3, and so a lot going on in the company, and I'm not saying Elon can't do it. On GM side, they have not done well. Mary Barra was hugely behind the Chevy Bolt. The Chevy Bolt, they've lost on every single model. They've lost money. So it's definitely they're still in an investment phase, just much like Tesla is, to where they're spending money on EVs and not getting it back. The difference is GM has the whole other part of their brand to absorb that. Tesla doesn't so much. So that's why they're burning through cash and hoping to hit that plateau. So we'll see what happens, guys. I will continue to talk about it. I'm seeing some of your comments. It's the first time I've run the show, so obviously this is going to grow. I encourage you to subscribe, hit the notification bell. So basically these comments, any of these comments that get left after I upload this, I will read, and we will kind of continue this conversation. But we're going to get into GM and Tesla this week, and that's March 9th through March 14th. We're going to get into Tesla, get into GM. I want to get the talk going. You know, I think a lot of people love talking about this stuff. I think there's a good conversation to be had, a lot to learn. I'm for everything. You know, I mean, I love hybrids. I think that I think Le Mans racing. Thank you, good times for all. We will meet again. That's awesome. I think that racing at Le Mans and things has proven that hybrid technology can be ridiculously fast. But you know, the Toyotas, the Audis that raced over in the World Endurance Championship, they were just, you know, there's no competing with that KERS type of situation if you follow F1, the kinetic energy recovery and things. But that's all to come. Obviously, the Corvette's going to be a hybrid. Lots of things are going to be hybrid. So thank you for watching, guys. This is going to end the recorded version. I'm going to always continue if there is a conversation to be had with the chat. But if you're watching this recorded, guys, I appreciate you watching the video and sticking with me. You're watching Night Drive Live. This will be Monday through Friday. Please check out my other videos on the channel. Have to do with Corvette, off-road, all kinds of different things. I check out shows, SEMA, events. Thank you for watching, guys.